Hello everybody and welcome back to the Clintonville Slasher. I am your host, Frankie Wilkes, and today, happy Wednesday. I'm sorry about not having a video ready to go on Monday, but I still wasn't feeling the best. So today we're going to be talking about a horror film that I just saw for the first time called The Unholy. It was released back April 2nd of 2021. It was directed by Evan, and I'm gonna Evan Snuffleupagus. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his last name. It budgeted $10 million, and it had a $31 box office, $31 million box office. It stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and who else is in this? Let's see here. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Cricket Brown, and Gary Ells. So, a little rundown of the film is that you got Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who actually plays a kind of a bad, not a bad guy, but he's like a really shitty reporter, and he's trying to like redo his life. The film kind of starts off in the 1840s. Or, excuse me, yeah, the 1800s, and it starts off with this woman getting tortured and burned at the stake. So, and it fast forwards years later, and during that time, you see Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He lives in Boston. He goes to this small town out in Massachusetts where he finds like this cow, and like he's got this weird demonic symbols on it, and it just turns out that it's kind of like a hoax. So he ends up kind of like making up a story. He finds this doll with like this weird date on it. This is February 31st, which is like not really a date. He smashes the doll's head in, and he kind of just writes this story that that isn't true. And that's kind of like his MO, that he, you know, he's kind of like this failed journalist, and he kind of makes these stories up. So what ends up happening is he's kind of hanging around the town, and he smashes this doll's head in. He's kind of just writing this fake story. And he's driving through the town back to his hotel room, and he almost hits this girl named Alice, and she's standing in the middle of the road. So he crashes his truck. He follows her through the woods. He goes down there, and she's kneeling in front of this tree where at the beginning you saw this lady being like tortured. So anyway, the girl's talking. So he turns around, he grabs her, he's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, got her arms out like this, and she's like mumbling something. You can't really hear what she's saying, but she's talking. So he taps her on the shoulders, she faints, he brings her back into the church, and when she's inside the church, she can't speak. When she wakes up, she can't speak, and she ends up being the pastors of this church, ends up being his niece. And so she can't speak. She can't talk, she can't hear, she's deaf. Well, what ends up happening is like the next day, she gets up and she goes to the tree, and everybody follows her out, and she starts to talk. And she says that she sees the Virgin Mary and that she's performing all these miracles. So as the movie goes on, you slowly realize that it's not really the miracles of Mary, but not the Virgin Mary, but a false prophet. And she actually got her name was Mary, but she's doing things in the name of the devil. Now, that's just a little rundown of the film. You know, I really thought that this movie was a really cool story. I thought it had a really good idea. I thought the acting in it was really superb, and I thought that the beginning of the movie, building up into it, was really, really good. But they went way too far with CGI. There was basically little to no practical effects when you saw the witch. She wasn't even scary because she was just so computer-rated. It was just too much CGI. There wasn't a lot of practical effects except for like the up-close shots. And even then, they could have put a person in this. You know, they did have an actress playing the witch, but when it came to like the close-up shots, they didn't do any practical effects. They CGI'd everything about her. So, in my opinion, this movie wasn't that scary. It could have been a lot better. I think that the storyline was awesome. You had the acting, you had the story, you had the cinematography, you had the really great idea, but you killed it in the CGI. I mean, you really just ruined your movie there. So I wasn't the biggest fan of this film. I don't know if I suggest this to anybody. I mean, if you want to check it out, it's not terrible, but it's really not that scary. I bought it on Amazon, and I kind of was bummed that I bought it. I kind of wish I would have just rented it, because I wasn't really that, you know, impressed, because there was just so much CGI. I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan really killed it, but if you would have had anybody else in this movie, no one ever heard about it. So, I don't know, man. I wouldn't waste my time. I would just move on from this one, because it wasn't that great. So that's that. If that sucks, if it's one of your favorites, I'm sorry, but it wasn't that good. So if you're new to the channels, please like, comment, and subscribe. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you guys all had a great New Year. So hope you're all staying safe. I will see you guys on Friday. I will be in a little bit better voice. I know that I'm kind of stumbling across my words. I still have COVID, and I still do not feel the best. So, I hope you guys all have an awesome week, and I will see you Friday. Stay horror, and we'll see you later.